The reality is that architects' dream is really to do your own house. Hi, I'm Chris Tantello, principal of Tantello Architecture, and this is a film about our house project. The site is in South Jersey, south of Medford Township, and the site is a 1 acre parcel that is surrounded by 30 acres of farms and horse farms. One of the things we wanted to do was to build a house that we felt fit into the landscape in the area. So this is not a house that sits on the site, it's a house that shapes the site and brings the landscape into the house, so that when you're inside, you're very aware of, how light moves through the house, how the house is positioned to take advantage of views. It's a C in shape to some degree, but it's really a courtyard house. What it does is it allows the barn, the existing barn piece, to be the anchor to the site, the pivot, hinge, if you will, and then the house essentially pinwheels off of the existing barn. A lot of the inspiration we took was from actually some Asian architecture. So you have this idea about this heavy masonry wall and then this lighter wood pieces that begin to interact with it. So the garage, the existing barn structure is this 6x6 posts, and then this 1-story connector is laundry room. Kitchen is located in this location with a dining room and then a living room space. Come into the house, you enter into this double height hallway space that leads you to the master bedroom. So this is going to be a wall of windows, and then the main door to the house will be approximately here. So when you come up to the house, you'll come up to a glass door with a wall of glass to your left. So when you look into the house, will actually be very transparent, the house. You'll be able to see through the house, which will be great to the rear, to the views of the horse farm in the back. So the house is being wrapped and made weather tight right now. That's with that white Tamlin wrap, which you see. So the whole house is about these volumes that are sliding past each other. So this wall is essentially a freestanding wing wall that comes out and creates a private outdoor space outside the master bathroom. The windows on the front creates this kind of window wall, which looks into the main hallway when you come into the house, but is screened by the wall behind it, which will be an art wall for a gallery. So this idea that you allow people to see in, but yet you have a privacy within the house. So it's we're in the main living space right now, and you can see how the ceiling pops up over the living space, then comes back down over the entry, and then once again over the kitchen area it begins to rise back up. So it's this change of volume within the room that begins to kind of delineate the spaces. So it's So day 3 of burning wood. So it's heat advisory weekend. It's been upwards of almost 100 degrees the last 3 days. It's probably the worst time to be doing this.
It's a traditional Japanese technique called shosugiban, where we char the outside of the wood, and we're going to use it in two different ways. We're going to use it as a vertical wood tongue and groove on the lower portion of the house, and then on the upper portion of the house it's going to be horizontal boards that are going to be spaced apart.
So here is the finished product that we were able to generate. So this is the charred cedar. So this is the natural unfinished side. Then it gets scorched and charred. But as you can see by my fingers, you can see that it continues to come off over time. So one of the things that we do then is apply an oil penetrating sealer called a paraffin sealer. And what that does is it seals the wood, protects the wood, but it also has a little bit of a darker tint to it. As the architect, I get really jazzed about the outside of the house, and when I go inside, kind of the raw spaces, I'm rather more taken by the space and seeing the house now, where it's essentially just primed and prime painted white, and you just see the volume and the shapes and the light coming through the house. And to me, that's really that's when the house really starts to sing in my mind. Obviously, we don't want light coming in at a heavy clip all the time, so what we've designed is a recessed shade pocket. So we have these solar shades that'll come down and help reduce the sunlight. And those are motorized, so when we're not using them, and we don't need them, and we want to have full advantage of the light, they tuck up into the ceiling. You don't see them. So what you're seeing here is a gas fireplace, and what we're going to do is we're cladding this whole wall here, and it also comes around the back side and along this the rest of the back wall here. And that'll be clad in this statuary marble, which is a beautiful white marble with some gray graining. And farther back, we're going to have our TV monitor that'll all the electronics will be down in the basement, so you won't see any of that kind of technology. So you just have a screen.
Show Christopher a lot of different inspirational images of what we wanted for the kitchen. That was a long journey. Probably took just as long for me to pick out all the stuff for the kitchen as it did for Christopher to design the whole house. There is a really beautiful landscape plan that Christopher came up with. All of the planting is going to be done in spring.
Had a dream about what we wanted the house to be, Melanie and I, and I think at the end of the day we're getting our dreams realized, and I think it's coming out exactly how I would want it to.